Hello everybody, my name is Valadam01 and this is the next episode of City Skylines East of the Curtain, my former Eastern Bloc inspired city building series. In today's episode, first I'm going to do some fixes in the city because I messed up one or two things and I want to fix them. Before I start today's topic, I will close this tab because it was only for the intro cinematics. So, first, what I want to fix before I start today's topic is this area here. You can see these three blocks next to each other and it makes the grid kinda similar and repetitive. So what I will do here is I am going to destroy this road. This will cause a lot of complaining here, but not for a long time. So what I am going to do is I am going to use move it and I am going to select this area, everything which is located in this area, and I am going to rotate this area with rotate the selection by 90 degrees to make it a little bit more nicer and not so repetitive to break up this grid. And let's redraw the road, and if the game doesn't slow down I would be happy. Okay. So this area is done here, this area is fixed here, it will look pretty nice. I think this will just fix itself or it will just complain, but it works, so nothing here, nothing problem here. And what I also want to fix is this petrol station here, this gas station here, the Shell gas station. So what I want to do is I want to change this gas station to a different brand of gas station because I downloaded another gas station model, another gas station brand, which is called Orlen, and this asset was made by Horvath in the Steam workshop, and this is a Polish gas station brand which is not present in my country, but it is kinda, well, lot of gas station in Poland is Orlen, and because I am building a Central European city, I will think that this will be just fit perfectly into this area right here next to the fast food restaurant. And I need to also fix the parking lots here because there is a car entrance or car wash, or I don't know what is this here. And I don't want the car wash to be blocked by a parking lot when the people just drive out after they wash the car. I also need to replace this car park here, you can see. And I think I should lower the gas station a little bit. Like this. So it is perfect. This is perfect for now. Or not now, it is perfect forever. Sadly, I don't have a gas station totem which presents that this is an Orlen here. There is a Orlen gas station located here, so I will just leave this for now like this. Okay, so I think I shouldn't have lowered the gas station, so I will just undo it. So let's just demolish the Shell gas station. And let's get straight into today's topic, what I'm going to build here, and this is a river system, what I will build in today's episode. So, the river system that I'm going to build in today's episode would be heavily inspired by the river system that can be found in chapter Water Hazard of the video game Half-Life 2. This is the part of the video game where Gordon Freeman travels down a river system in an airboat when he is escaping from City 17. I don't want to spoil the game's storyline because there might be some people who still didn't play the game, even if it came out in 2004, I think. So, anyway, I'm gonna tell the lore behind the Half-Life universe in a few words. That there was a alien invasion, there was a 7-hour long war, North America, and if I remember correctly, South America and Africa and Australia, and maybe even Asia were just completely wiped out. The combined and intergalactic and interdimensional empire just took over the world, and it just integrated this into the empire as a new planet, and it just started to exploit the Earth resources. Obviously fucking up the environment with it so badly. If you play the game, you can see how bad the Earth ecosystem was fucked up. And the only places that remained livable for humans were cities in Central and Eastern Europe, aka the former Eastern Bloc. One of these cities was City 17, which was the most important for the Combine, because City 17 was the Earth headquarters for the Combine occupation, with the Combine Citadel and every other important institutions for the Combine. And outside of these cities there would be a complete bandit country with forests along seashore and a complete toxic wasteland. And also a lot of abandoned towns and villages like Ravenholm, abandoned industrial facilities, mostly oil refineries and ore mines, Combine and resistance outposts all around the place, and the safest way to travel through this area would be trains if the Combine had permitted it for you. So, back to the topic. In the first episode of this series, I have told you that this series will be about building a former Eastern Bloc city. And City 17 from Half-Life 2, and also in Half-Life 2 episode 1, is also a former Eastern Bloc city. So why I shouldn't take inspiration from it and build a city that could have been City 17 before the Combine invasion and the fucked up ecosystem. And this is why I decided to build this river system from the game. Notice that I won't do the entire river system right now in this episode. Instead of this, I will just continue and try to incorporate it into the city as the city grows and the episodes are made and the expansions. But what you can see that I am preparing this place in the city for a big expansion, which will take place soon in one of the next episodes, and will be inspired by the Chapel Island, which is a big island on the Danube River in Hungary, and also the biggest island on the Danube in Hungary. But more about this later on that particular episode. For now, I will just make the suburban section of the river system, and you will see that I will use a lot of these grey flame rocks around the area, mixed with pedal moss grass assets, mostly the mountain grass, but I also use some swamp grass assets from him to detail the suburban section. And here we are in the downtown part of the river, where I plugged some big riverbed decals made by Ronex, and a lot of underwater rocks with grass vegetation to decorate the underwater with something that is barely visible from outside, but you can still see that something is there under the water. And I also used a lot of key assets as I wanted to create a nice broadwalk along the river. Sadly, citizens won't use these for some reason, and also made some tiered keys as major roads with lower parts, like boat docking or just a sitting place for citizens next to the river. And I think the best of these were the ones that were placed under the bridges. Later I also went and did some fixes to the industrial area next to the river, which I built in the second episode and complained about that I'm not satisfied with it. And now I think it should be okay after I changed some buildings in the complex. But most important, the industrial area had received a kind of fake cargo boat harbor with that tiered key, where I put down some containers and some boat lifters, which I think doesn't fit here, as an electromagnetic container crane would be better, but I wasn't subscribed to the asset that would be the best here to that area, so it will be fixed later sometimes, maybe, I don't know which episode. But I think that these areas are just temporary, as I'm planning to make a functional ferry system for the city, Well, not for carry the citizens around the city, only maybe some tourists or lazy chilled locals on weekends, because it would be faster to use land vehicles, for example buses for that. But it would be perfect for cargo purposes, because I have the barges mod installed, and maybe in the future I will introduce the barges for the city to carry cargo around the city and the factories. Okay, here is the next section of today's episode where I would build this nice water stream through this place. Sorry if you can't see anything because the video is too fast, but when I was editing and speeding up the original footage to match the length of the background music, it was so long that it turned out that it was speeded up by 13 times, and I didn't want to put a second track under the video to make the episode even longer, because this episode is already so long that it is, I don't know. And I also didn't want to re-render the episode preview again, because it would take so long that I wouldn't finish the episode maybe in 2 weeks. So just joking. So where did the idea of this water stream come from? Not so long ago I could spend a weekend in Ljubjana, Slovenia, where I was able to go on a boat trip on the Ljubjanica River in the city, and I quite like the river with a lot of weeping trees and the riverside foliage along the river. So I was just like, former Eastern Bloc city has a nice river within, must be built in east of the curtain. And what I did is made this water canal inspired by the Ljubjanica, using the terraform network from the Steam workshop to make a 6-meter deep trench for the stream, which connects a new lake to the river of the city. To detail the stream, I just placed down a lot of assets again, including trees, rocks and a lot of river reeds and golden fragmites. and also a lot of these kind of mountain and swamp grasses by Pidelmo to recreate the riverside vibe that I saw in Ljubjana. Then, at the end of the water stream, I made this small lake with the intention to have a nice natural area here, which could be used to make a nice hangout recreational area for the citizens. By the way, this won't be built right now in this episode. For now, it will just be a nice lake in the city outskirts, prepared to be converted into a nice urban or suburban park in the future episode. And also, I think the water level is a little bit too high for boats to go through this area. You will see it when I converted the two crossroads above the stream to be bridges that a boat won't fit under them. But this kinda isn't a too big problem because I didn't plan this section of the water system to be used by boats. This section would be here only for detailing purposes and to separate the downtown and the outskirts from each other. Maybe this stream is a border between two city districts, and maybe back in the day it was part of the actual city boundaries before the city was expanded by attaching some neighbor towns and villages to it to make the city bigger. To finish this video, you will see that I will build this facility here where the neighborhood stream and the river branch meets. I posted a screenshot about it on Twitter as a preview of this episode, asking who recognizes this place, and at the time I am recording this, no one could give me the right answer. So the correct answer is that this is the old red barn from Half-Life 2, which is located in the starting of the chapter Water Hazard, and it can be seen a little bit after you get the airboat after getting out of the city sewers, the sewers of City 17. So I tried to recreate it in City Skylines because first, it is an iconic place in Half-Life 2, and second, that I like places that feel remote when you are visiting them, but then you realize that it isn't as remote as you thought because it is just only a few minutes walking from the nearest bus stop, which is not so remote, the bus stop. And you can also see the busy places of the city while still feeling kind of far from there, as the place isn't visited by many people because just literally nothing is there. So it just feels remote, not so remote, but it feels remote. And by the way, this is the first time that I am building an exact location from Half-Life 2 in this series, and I'm not just inspired by it when building something. It won't be 100% accurate as the original one because I was limited by the time dislocation on the city and the asset selection, so I just converted a barn asset from the vanilla game into procedural object and used some boat piers from the workshop to surround the front of the barn and place a walkway above the river. And I also PO'd a crane here on the barn, which contains loot in the Half-Life video game, and also tried to make the surroundings of the area, even the truck is there, which can be seen in Half-Life 2, and tried to make the foliage, the forest and the trees around it. And since this is before the Combine invasion and the fucking up of the environment of the Earth, the trees are actually green and not just a dead tree, which can be seen in the Half-Life 2. Anyway, this is the part where I will just let you enjoy the rest of the time-lapse, and I'll be back when in the ending cinematics. So, here are some ending cinematics of this episode. I kinda like how it turned out, how the detailings turned out, what I did in this episode. Not sure if it's gonna stay like this or I will change it when I introduce these ferries and the barges to the city, but I'm kinda liking it. So, you will see that the city turned out so realistic and the old red barn turned out so accurate that maybe even the G-Man could be standing on the railings, next to the railings. But I think this episode is over now. I was Veladam01. Thanks for watching. I hope I will see you in the next episode too. See you later. Goodbye.